This is the OMFL.
You can't touch this.
And you're in the mix with Kinda Real Name. Here's another OMFL production.
Good morning, and welcome to Press Pass Live, your weekly podcast show for the OMFL. Thank you so much for tuning in here this morning. I just realized that we don't have the screen up. There we go. We got to get you a screen up, get you something to look at here. It is time to talk some OMFL. The offseason is over. Week 1 has officially started. But before we start rolling into it, let me welcome in my co-host, as always, the man of the hour, Mr. D. Wayne. How you doing this morning, buddy?
I got coffee going through my blood this morning. I feel good. Not too hungover, so that's really a good thing this morning.
It is usually a pretty good thing whenever you can be not too hungover. And then we got a special guest, but before we get there, we're going to spend some time with him. Mr. Maniac is out sick, which is unfortunate. Maniac, we are hoping that you get better, buddy, and you can rejoin us here pretty quickly. So let's go ahead and spend 5 good minutes with one of our longtime owners. He's been with us for quite some time. We actually sent out an Amber Alert for him on Thursday night because in the middle of his interview, he disappeared and nobody knew where he went. But Mr. Smash of the Bears, how you doing, bud?
Morning. I'm doing great.
Now let's pick up our conversation where it left off the other night, and that was your predictions. We wanted to hear your predictions for your Chicago Bears. Now everybody in the NFC North actually came on that night and talked some smack
really?
talk. Yeah, we had every single owner on.
Go.
You got to go back and listen to it. It's up. It's updated. Just type !OMFL draft recap, and you can go ahead and find it there. But all of them came on. All of them talked smack. All of them said they were going to win the NFC North. But give us your prediction for your Chicago Bears. What's the record going to be, and how you going to win it?
I don't know. After practice with my 2 rookies on offense, I really don't know. But I found out how to use my first round draft pick that everybody said was a reach. He will not be in the slot. He will be on the outside. So everybody in the NFC North, get ready for a speed team. But you know what? I also got those 2 big guys that can catch over the middle. So the Bears going to be ready. We're going to run the ball, play action, and I already know we play defense. So, and I predict, I don't know.
I'm not
like I said, going through.
I'm not letting you out on that. You can't give me an I don't know. I got to get a prediction from you.
I hadn't finished. I'm probably 8-8, 6-10. That's what I'm predicting for myself. Looking at my schedule and the way they perform, my offense performed in practice mode. That quarterback got kind of funny throwing motion. So I'm kind of scared. I might just go back to my first-year guy that I took in the 4th round last year from Idaho. Might go give him a chance. We'll see how the first game go. I got a double nil today at around 11:30, so we'll see how the first game goes, and we'll go from there.
Well, 8-8 could do it again if you needed to, but I'm expecting a little bit more there from the NFC North. Let's talk about your schedule. I'm having to fix some things here, so excuse the movement that you're seeing on the video real quick. You're going to open up against the Lions. You guys are supposed to play here pretty soon. Then you got the Broncos, the Bucks, the Packers, the Raiders, the Saints. You and I are going to get to play again this year. The Panthers, the Vikings, the Giants, the Lions again, the 49ers. That's going to be a tough one. The new and improved Chargers, the Chiefs, which are always going to be tough. They're already 1-0, so I guess he played last night. Packers, Vikings, and then you finish up with the Atlanta Falcons. Not a terrible schedule. I mean, we've seen much worse here in the OMFL. Which of the games are you looking forward to the most?
The first one and the Broncos. I want to see what he gonna do with Kyler Murray. So I'm not gonna give out any scouting reports that I have on him because we played I was in the AFC West earlier this year. So I kind of know him, and he improved. He was used to be well, let me be quiet because I'm starting to give out a scouting report. So I'm not gonna give out. And I scout everybody. So yeah, I go to your rosters, I scout, and that's what I do. I mean, I can sit there all day and just look and scout one guy and just see what I'm gonna do for that game. I sit there maybe about an hour or two and just see what you got, go through your stats and see who you gonna go to. Because like I said once before, the guys that are on top are always the ones that uh, are able to adjust. So, but the first game is that's the one I'm looking forward to. We're gonna stay focused on that first game because Double Null is the champ, and as you know what Ric Flair used to say, to beat a man, you got to beat the man. So out the gate, we're gonna see what kind of team he got because he got a nasty defense. He has some nasty linebackers, and I don't know if he has J.J. Watt on his team or not. So and he got speed at the cornerback Slay and White, and I don't know reason why Buffalo traded White to him. So well, I guess as we talking now, that's going to be the game that I'm looking forward to. The first game out the gate. I'm gonna see what we got. First game.
Yeah, I try to do a lot of scouting on my guys too. I'll actually go and watch their last two games and just kind of see what kind of tendencies I can pick up from. It just makes it a whole lot more fun when you got time to do that kind of stuff. Let's talk about your team. You got to practice with them a little bit. What's the area that you're most improved in from last season?
Cornerback. And before we came on, I was doing a comparison of my corner and Greedy Williams. My guy's a superstar. I want to say Greedy is quick. Both of them 93 speed. And my guy out jumps Greedy. And surprisingly, Greedy has a 66 tackle. My guy has a 60 tackle. My guy has better agility. They had the same catch. Of course, Greedy's out the gate ratings for coverage is higher, like 5 points on both. But what I'm excited about is use that new cornerback that I got.
You're talking
He's
about
gonna be in the
Jerron
start.
Laurendale, right?
No, Damian Arnett from Ohio
Oh,
State.
okay, Damian Arnett.
Yeah. Priest took the guy from that I had penciled in. He took the guy ahead of me. Actually, so he first 2 rounds he took the guys that I was gonna pick. So he did me a favor because my guy turned out to be a better player. The guy I can't think of the guy name from Clemson that I think the Raiders picked up in the first round in real life. Can't think of his name offhand, but my guy turned out to be much better than. So actually, Priest, you did me a favor. So he will be taking care of DK Metcalf.
Look, I like this kid that you have too, Jerron Laurendale and Kyle Fuller. I mean, you've got some really good cornerbacks on this team. After practicing with your team, where's the area that you think that you're still going to need some work and you're still kind of cautious about where you're going to be by the end of the season?
I don't know. Well, you can't really base everything off practice mode because sometimes practice mode is overpowering. The defense is overpowering. Uh, I'm gonna say maybe I really don't want to say because I'm giving opponents something to do. Maybe my passing game. I'm just worried about this starting this rookie quarterback because he got such a funky like sidearm throw. I don't know what it is. That's what I'm most concerned about quarterback. And I had a guy that was a 4th round guy. I mean, he came in and did well last year, and I just felt like I never draft a quarterback. And I said, well, let me get a quarterback because to have a quarterback, they can make those throws that other guys that an average quarterback can't make. So right now, I'm concerned about my quarterback. Like,
Yeah,
that's my biggest concern.
I think Jarrett Stidham's going to be a player for you. It sounds like the funky motion may take some time to get used to, but he's got all the stats. He can throw it. He can sling it with the best of them. He's super accurate, especially in that short range, but he's got an 80 deep accuracy. That kid can throw the ball. I think he'll be just fine. The last question for me before I toss it over to D. Wayne would be just about this offensive line. On paper, it's not the most impressive offensive line. It's really built around your center. But outside of that, you've definitely got some holes there. Are you concerned about this offensive line at all?
That's the thing. I talked to some guys. I go back and look at Dwayne offensive line early in the year, and it wasn't that spectacular. And everybody's like trading for offensive line, trading offensive line. Everybody's like overall. It's not the overall. You got to look at the core stats. That's personal to me. Now, the only thing concerned I'm worried about on that old line maybe is that I give it out the right guard because he dropped. I think he used to be my starting center, and I moved him over to right guard, and I didn't realize that his ratings had dropped. And I was going to take a guy. I think in the third round, I wasn't going to take a quarterback. I think the Buccaneers took the guy. He was, I think, ready to go undrafted, and I think he was the best right guard on the in the draft, and the Bucks took him. But that's my only concern right now on that old line. But I do have somebody that awareness is a little bit lower than his. I might move him up and replace my starting right guard with the guy that's on the bench who has better blocking ratings. But that's my concern right now is on that right side at that right guard position.
Thank you, everybody, for being on the stream this morning. We see our good buddy, Mr. Alpha, out there. Ferreira, I think I'm saying it right. I hope I'm saying it right. A couple of our buddies from Soden Bowl, and then, of course, Mr. Bill, Mr. Cincy Berg, and Kevin all here today. Thank you guys for tuning in, man, so much. I really appreciate it. We know it's super early. I actually didn't expect to have anybody on this early. Dwayne, I'm going to toss it over to you. What do you have for our buddy Smash here?
Well, I agree with Smash. He's talking the O-line. I think the O-line, especially overall-wise, is a little discerning, per se. I think Smash has got it figured out. You find guys that fit your scheme with their I hate to say underrated stats because that's not what I'm trying to say, but it is kind of early, so I'm trying to make words up in my mind. But yeah, find guys that fit your scheme. But I was going to ask Smash about did you let Trubinsky go this
Yeah.
offseason?
I let him go doing free agency because I was trying to outbid some folks, and actually he was up and down.
I was going to ask if he
Actually, I didn't start him. I didn't start him last year. I picked up a quarterback in free agency season before last, Mason Rudolph, and he didn't do too well. Better than I had the family thing going on, so a couple of games I missed. The games he did play because I started off 2-0. And actually, he was doing well, and I took him out because he wasn't doing too well. Put Trubisky in. He was always up and down, and he played one game lights out. Next game, went back to the up and down like the real Chicago Bears. And so I put in Logan Watts, and man, he was killing. So that's why I'm trying to, but damn, a 72. I did say something about overall, but I was kind of worried. We had a lot of quarterbacks in the draft, and I was like, man, I need to take a quarterback because I don't know. Logan Watts might not make it through the whole season playing. I mean, he played lights out last season. And, I could have just went with him and picked up a quarterback maybe in the fourth or fifth round.
So I guess you didn't drink the Trubinsky Kool-Aid like Outlaw has. You just weren't loyal to the throne as well as he was. I don't blame you. I looked at Trubinsky in the offseason. But if you're getting that kind of production of somebody like that, there's no need to pay that kind of money or premium money for a quarterback.
I mean, like I said, I wanted to get in. I needed an offensive line, but there was so much money being thrown around. I was like, man, forget this. I could just have some money, and because the draft was so good, I thought we were gonna have plenty of free agents in the off season, but that didn't turn out. And then, like I said, I dropped him because he did really only play 2 games, and
Right.
I was trying to bid on some guys and. Looking back on it, I was thinking maybe I shouldn't because those are my 2 playoff runs. He was the starting quarterback. So we'll see how it goes this year.
Do we know where he went? Did we know where Trubisky went?
The Vikings.
Oh, my God.
That's interesting.
But he's been playing musical chairs with his quarterback because actually he wanted
drafted
Logan
one, too.
Watts. Right. And then he wanted Logan Watts, who was on my practice squad. I wasn't going, I saw his stats. I said, this guy going to be good. And then I put him on the team and played him. And he played, like I said, lights out. So, but Trubisky's on the Vikings.
You think Paris Campbell's going to open up your running game with Howard with that kind of speed? I've always said that kind of speed scares defenses. It makes them where they can't press the box. You're not going to see as many 8 men in the box with that kind of speed, especially after you burn them once or twice. Do you think he opens it up to where you can lean on Howard in the running game a little more?
Yeah, because I hadn't had speed on my offense in maybe about 2 or 3 seasons. Like I would always wait in the draft. I always let me wait, and then before I know it, hell, by the second round, like the elite speed receivers are gone. That's one reason why I had to reach because I know that guy 96 speed, he wasn't going to be there, and then he's what 6'1" with 96 speed.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's
he,
he's he's not your
yeah, that
prototypical 96 speed. He's 80 release. I think he's solid all around. I think he really opens up. I'll say that I never really drank the Kool-Aid on the speedy receivers until you see guys start stacking the box against you, and you make them pay with that speed on the outside.
Right, that's my whole thing. And then I got a couple of guys. I think I got a free agent that was on Nate's team, Listen B, and then I picked up Darius Bird, who's like 5'8" with I think what 95 speed, 90 acceleration, and those little short guys with that speed can fly. So I'm pretty much sure that we're gonna put my guy on the outside, and it should open up that running game, get those guys sticked out the box. Because I got the lines, and like I said, that defense is nasty. That those linebackers he got, and then we're gonna see what Devin Bush can do when he goes up against my run game. So
Look,
we're gonna see.
I'm one of the guys who said that Paris was a reach. I think you took him at number 5. Look, he is super fast, 96 speed, 96 acceleration. I love his catch at 80. But this dude can run one route, and that's a fly route. That's about it. I mean, he's got 69 short route running. That's super concerning. 76 medium is not too bad. The 81 deep is spectacular. I mean, this guy's going to fly. The 73 catch in traffic is a little worrisome. I just thought that was a little high of a reach. I understand, like hearing why you had to go that high. I just felt like with the needs that you had, that you could have went quarterback there. You could have went a lot of different directions there, and supplemented what you got from Paris with other players that you got in free agency.
Look, Nate, I was thinking the same thing because I had Greedy and Sweat next, and the only thing that I'm mad about is Sweat because he has both. He has both pass rushing moves, finesse and that. But like I drafted I got some nice, nasty outside linebackers. I got Floyd. I got the rookie of the year before last in Snow, and Noel also Pro Bowl 2 years in a row. Then I drafted Mincy. So my outside linebackers and my linebackers as a whole, I got a nasty linebacker core. So, and like I felt also that I could have had a receiver in the second round, but I know guys in speed, but I didn't have anybody with with elite speed. And that what I was thinking that was missing on my offense as a whole. Because there's nobody on there that scares anybody. So we went for need, and then by the end of the day, it all boils down to how you play the game. And so like I said once before, I'm not going off the hype of these other players. I know what my team is, and we're gonna see what this wide receiver gonna do. But I'm not gonna press and try to press, give him the ball. That'll be my downfall right there. But I just want somebody to scare that defense on the other side. And I think I made up for it when I got my cornerback in the second round. So I got my wide receiver and I got a cornerback. That's what my two things I was going in the draft for. So I got my two needs.
Well, there we go. We have our prediction of the Chicago Bears. Now, he said he was going to win it all, but then he says he was going to be 8-8, and Kevin says, well, 8-8 in the NFC North is contending, and he kind of has a point there. Thanks.
Tell Kevin he might want to keep it down because Madden 20, I might be those Buffalo Bills, and we can renew that rivalry. We had good, fun, clean rivalry that we had over there in the AFC East.
I know if Kevin keeps whipping the ball around like he was doing last night, he's going to be 8-8 himself. He's definitely going to have to fix it. He says bring it, so I guess he's ready for you to come over to the Bears or to the Bills and kind of renew that rivalry with him. Let's move over to the OMFL now. We just came out of the offseason. We had a spectacular draft. I don't know the exact numbers, but there were upwards of the high 20s watching, and so we had lots of owners interacting on the chats, and in engaging with us. I wasn't able to have Mr. Dwayne. He suckered his way. I still don't know how you did that. You were on, you were chatting. I told you to unmute your mic and at least let us interview you, and you still somehow weaseled your way out of being on the draft show. But Mr. Brady stepped in and helped fill in. Thank God, because those things are nearly impossible to do by yourself. But a great draft show, a great free agency, and man, we're right here into week 1. So let's talk. Whoa, somebody's got the YouTube up and it's loud. So let's talk about the free agency. Let's talk about our big free agency winners. Who do we think won and who do we think didn't do so well? So, Dwayne, I'm going to toss it over to you. Let's talk about our winners. Give me a couple of the teams that you think did really great in free agency.
Well, my first team just right off the bat is an easy choice to me, and I think it's the Broncos. I think and I know he did trade the number 1 receiver to the Empire to start this season, and a lot of people weren't real happy about it. But he did clear a lot of space. I think Nixon was getting paid like $25 million a year, and he turned it into pretty much, a good catch. You got a starting center and Brandon Linder. You got Bo Scarborough. You got Adrian Santu, which was the left tackle for the Bengals. I want to say he might even been. You got Tyron Smith. So you're talking about a guy who picked up 3 pretty much 90-plus overall offensive linemen, picked up arguably the best running back in the league. I think he just revamped. I think he's trying to go a different direction, and I think he did a good job at starting that. And I think he had, like I said, when you have $25 million off one guy to spend, I think it's just really easy to start making some moves. But he did pick up, like I say, revamped his whole offensive line, picked up one of the best running backs in the game. And I hope this means we've always talked about Glaze, a team that he's had a lot of success here in the OMFL. And I think he's trying to switch it up from an air raid team to now he's got Bo Scarborough, he's got Joe Mixon, he's got Kyler Murray, who's a speedster at running back, and he's still got a very good receiving core in Cortland Sutton and Josh Horton. Of course, it's not Nixon, but if he's going towards the way of trying to run the ball, trying to play a little more game control, I think he took a step in the right direction. I think he's trying to win that AFC West. I think he's got his hands full with Maniac and the Raiders and Colin now over there with the Chargers. But I think he took a step in the right direction here. He won a lot of big bids. He had a lot of money to spend, and I think he spent his money well this offseason.
I know that we're just throwing you in here, Smash, and you didn't really have a whole lot of time to prepare because we asked you just to go ahead and stay with us since Maniac was Maniac is sick and not able to be with us. But what do you think is the most improved team? Who did you see out there in free agency being a big spender and doing a good job to improve their team?
Well, the Broncos, so D. Wayne talked about them, but I'm going to talk about the Buffalo Bills. My buddy over there in Outlaw, he picked up a couple of offensive linemen himself. And I guess he got a long way to go to switch over from that triple option. And then he's about defense. He's about defense also. He picked up a nice cornerback in Jonathan Williams with that 95 speed. And let's see. He had some nice ratings at 84 zone and 78 man. He spent some money on him because actually I was going to go for the guy. And since Maniac, my buddy, I said, I got 3 corners already, so I'm going to let him have them. And let's see, what else did he pick up over there? I think he picked up a wide receiver also, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember who. Oh, that was the draft. He picked up a wide receiver in Slade. But I think Outlaw did a very good job of revamping the O-line and that cornerback that he picked up in Jones because, like I told him, you got to go against Kevin and his he likes to throw that ball around, and I'm not sure about the patch. But I think Outlaw did a very good job at picking up. Oh, he picked up that quarterback too. He picked up went out and got Josh Allen. I don't know, who did he get Josh Allen from?
From me.
You know, D-Wayne? Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that was a win right there. So I guess the O-line, he picked up 2 offensive linemen, Josh Allen and Jonathan. So I think Outlaw's gonna make AFC East this year.
Yeah, I was trying to get to their transactions. I get to go with the Seattle Seahawks. Look, the rich get richer. He went out. He had how? I have no clue, but he had a ton of money. And he went out and spent it. He had a great offseason. This was supposed to be just about free agency, but look, he went out and made some moves in the trading realm of the league, and just I don't know how he does it. He is the best used car salesman. Look, he's in retail, which is clear. He owns his own business, and it's clear why he's very successful and why he gets to make these trips all around the world, because this man is doing pretty well for himself, because he can sell a popsicle to an Eskimo. This dude is really good, and he went out and freaking just spent the money and picked up some really good players. I can't get to it right now. I know that he picked up some speed. For whatever reason, he really went out and revamped his wide receiver core and added a ton of speed. For whatever reason, he has by far the speediest wide receiver core in this. It's stupid. And Dwayne, you do not get to comment. I'll mute your mic because you helped him build some of that speed by giving him another speedster away. But this guy went out and spent tons of money. He picked up my kicker in Will Lutz, who is probably a top 3 kicker in this league, who wanted a 6-year contract, and I couldn't afford him, and so I had to cut him. And what did the Seahawks do is they go out and they sign him. And so this team really revamped, rebuilt. I shouldn't even say rebuilt. He just retooled. Let me see if I can get over to his team page. He just completely retooled this offense and spent a lot of money. The shocking part, for me at least, is the quarterback position. Now, a couple of seasons ago, he went out and signed like 45, 90-year-old quarterbacks for some reason. And so I guess he feels like he's stuck at the quarterback position. He's still, as far as I know, he's still playing Wilson. He still has Kirk Cousins there. He drafted a couple of guys. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 quarterbacks on this roster. Unfreaking believable. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 offensive linemen. I think that's below minimum. So
yeah, gotta have 8.
Mo, you gotta get you one more in there. Dwayne, I'm gonna give you that job. You need to check all of these rosters for us. But look, he went out. He got Nixon in a trade. He went out and got some other speedsters. I could say their names here, but you guys won't know who they are. But he definitely picked up some other speedsters. He goes out. He gets Will Lutz. He just retools and gets ready to go at it again. And to me, a top 3 team in this league just continues to get even better, which is a little shocking. So let's talk about our teams who maybe didn't do so well. Who's our swings and misses? Who are the teams out there that could have done a better job but didn't? Who did we think spent their money unwisely in free agency? Throwing this one over to Dwayne.
Well, he's gonna think I'm picking on him when I say who it is, but I just think Maniac and the Chiefs. I think he really wanted a few guys, and he really paid for a few guys. Not saying they won't help him win. I do think there's a method to his madness, the Maniac madness, but he spent $20 million a season on Ronald Jones. He spent $7 million a season on Sherman Redmond, and I want to say he had a left tackle, O.C. Moody, who spent $14 million for. So you're talking about $42 million right there between 3 guys. It's a lot of money. I know Maniac didn't have a whole lot of holes. I just think, and I understand the whole thing behind Ronald Jones, and he spent, like I said, Ronald Jones signed a 4-year, $100 million contract pretty much. I think he reached on him. I think Maniac is a good enough player. He can run with most running backs. I don't think he has to pay $20 million for a running back. I know I'm giving you a little bit of a little props there, Maniac, so don't take it too hard. But I do think that he didn't have to spend $20 million on Ronald Jones to run the ball well, especially week 1, 21 rushes, 60 yards. He could have got that out of any running back without paying $20 million. We know he's had a lot of success with Ronald Jones in the past. I think the very first season here, he had 1,400 yards and 12 touchdowns. But I just, I've paid Bo for a couple seasons. I wasn't going to fall in that trap again about paying a running back just outrageous amount of money. I just think Maniac overpaid for Ronald Jones. I think he could have spent that money a few different places. But Maniac is a good owner, and there is a method, like I said, to his madness. But I just think he overpaid for especially for Moody. I know that, like, I think Smash was talking about earlier about the offensive line, getting paid this free agent market, and he's right. Moody get $14 million for, I think he's only let me see, he's 85 overall, which is solid, but that's a lot of money for a, I guess you say a tier 2 lineman. Um, I just think he paid a lot of money for, maybe those were his needs, but he paid a lot of money for 3 guys, and I just think he could have spread it out a little bit better, especially when it comes to that running back position. $20 million is a lot of money for any player, but especially a running back.
Yeah, before I throw it over to Smash, I got to admit, free agency is something that Outlaw has struggled with, right? We're going to get to the draft here really soon, but he seems to do really great in the draft, and honestly got one of my better draft grades, but does struggle in free agency and knowing where to spend his money, where to save his money, and that can be an interesting concept, right? Because if you go and you make some bad spendings in free agency, it's going to hurt your team long term. My big question mark for this team is why Josh Allen? I mean, you had a draft this year that had 8 starting quarterbacks in it, easy. Like you could have got a starting. Haskins didn't go to the 3rd round. Like that dude's a starting quarterback in the OMFL, and so. If you needed a quarterback, don't go get Josh Allen. I know he plays for the real Buffalo Bills, but we're 5 seasons deep. The guy didn't develop up to this point. He's a backup. Let him be a backup. Go out and draft you a quarterback in the 2nd round. If you don't want to spend that 1st round pick on him, you got to save that money. You can't make those trades. You can't go and spend that kind of money on those types of players. Mr. Smash, who's the guy who didn't spend money well for you?
Well, I'm going to say I can't. When you caught me off guard with free agency, I really don't know because I was just concentrating on the Broncos, spending all that money. Because really, the past 2 or 3 years, I guess he's been out of touch in free agency. And they hadn't spent any money, so I guess that's why he had a lot of money in his all-world outside linebacker had retired. But I'm gonna look at the Eagles. I'm gonna go in the draft thinking that everybody say, yeah, he took your boy down there, Devin White. But I think
wait, just wait the draft. We're gonna go to the draft next. We're almost. I know we threw you to the wolves here. We were like, oh, come on, just stay on with us. You didn't get to see the agenda or nothing, but we're going to the draft next. Let's talk about those. Let's talk about the Broncos. Where do you feel like, what's with the Broncos? You seem to have a thing for the Broncos this offseason. Why were you watching the Broncos so closely?
Well, I was just because I saw him spending all that money. And I'm like, man, dudes, well, I guess I don't know what he does, but sometimes I don't, see him around. Like
nobody sees him around.
spending any money. That's what I noticed. Then I saw him on chat that a couple of guys retired and he had a lot of money, and of course he gave away the all-world import receiver Nixon to
oh my
Seahawks.
God, why would you give him to the Seahawks? Like, we could spend a whole podcast just talking about why all these morons gave players to the Seahawks.
So that's one reason why I was looking at him, and really like I said, I was concentrating. I can't believe I'm gonna go back to the Eagles. I'm not gonna talk draft. I don't think he helped his offense. I think he needed to pick up a wide receiver in free agency, because you can go defense, and that's what I'm about, defense. But at some point, you're gonna have to score.
Right.
And looking at his schedule last year, he scored 6 points, 0 points, 10 points, 3 points, 6 points. I mean, you finished 1-15. I don't see anywhere that he got that. Maybe he did, but I'm just looking at him and thinking, dude, you need offense. You need a wide receiver, and you don't. I don't know how many wide receivers he has on his team right now. But I was also looking during the draft and thinking that he would take one. But let me see how many wide receivers he has.
He's got 5. So yeah, he's got Nelson Aguilar, Crosby Henderson, Kalindrick Cersei, JJ. Whiteside. I'm not even gonna try that other name, and then Chris Conley. So there's definitely a weak area there.
What they averaged about maybe 75 overall wide receiver.
Yeah, no, it's not good.
And you finished 1-15. I think I'd have been trying to load up on offense while everybody was going defense. So, and there was a couple of receivers that he could have took to open up that offense.
Right.
In free agency, and he could have spent hell, he could have just got one, and he would have improved that wide receiver corps. But that's my take on free agency.
And he may be the only team that has a worse offensive line than you do. I mean, this offensive line is pretty terrible. Its average is probably low 70s across the board. And there were some good offensive linemen out there. Now, you were going to have to spend the money, right? You were going to have to go out there and go after it. And he only had $25 million free right now. I also know that he left for vacation, I think, towards the end of free agency. And so, maybe that played into it a little bit. But I agree with you. I think he did draft well, and we're going to get there. But I think it was a swing and a miss for a team that could have made some plays in free agency and decided, for whatever reason, to not go out there and spend some of that money. Instead, we just made sure that we restacked the Seattle Seahawks because Lord knows how bad that team was and how much help he just really, really needed. All right, let's talk about draft. The OMFL draft number 85 was in the books and done. Who do we think did the best in the draft? It was one of the most stacked draft classes that we've ever had here. It's one of the reasons I hate man-made draft classes, especially when we start doing the man-made, real-life NFL players. The reason we did it, if you're wondering, well, if you hate it, Nate, why'd you do it? Well, the reason we did it is because it's summer. Guys really hate Madden 19. There's that, great divide just as we had in Madden 18. And so I wanted to do something that would re-engage owners, and the best way to do that was to have a real-life NFL draft class in there and do almost like an NFL redraft in the OMFL. And so I knew it was going to be super strong. Look, there was red chipper players going in the 6th and 7th round this draft, which we never have. Usually by the time you get to the 3rd round, the red chippers are gone and you're just kind of drafting backups. But again, Dwayne Haskins went in the 3rd round. This was a super, super deep draft. You were getting starting offensive linemen in the 5th and 6th round. So let's talk about the draft. Who do we think was our winners in the draft? Who did the best in draft number 85? Mr. Dwayne.
I wouldn't. I'm not gonna call this pick right here as in like he did the best out of everybody. But when I say a team that I thought did really good for himself was Priest and the Packers. I think we've always said that he's drank the Aaron Rodgers Kool-Aid for way too long, in my opinion. But if you're gonna ride with that guy, you're gonna need to put some weapons around him. And I think going to get DK Metcalf was a big pickup for him. I know he likes to chunk it down the field, and who better to chunk it to somebody who can 95 speed and is 6'4", 230 pounds. I think you also look, you got a starting cornerback in Trayvon Mullen. And I want to say he got Elton Jenkins, who is a left guard, if I'm not mistaken. 77 overall in the draft, I think. And then he also got Matt Fife, who's kind of underrated. Not quite as good as Jenkins was, but he will make an impact on this team. I think that Priest did really good on just trying to fill some gaps and trying to make this team, because he's got so much money tied up in Rodgers. If I could tell you one thing, Priest, please do something with Rodgers. That cap hit with him just really hurts spreading out the love on this team. But I do think he tried to help himself in this draft. Picked up a weapon for him. Picked up 2 offensive linemen to help protect. He's probably gonna have in that with the Lions, Bears, and Vikings. He's probably gonna have a learning lesson with Mullen at cornerback. But I do think that Priest did well this draft. And I know he's real bad about reaching, real bad about going for speed running backs in drafts. But I think he did really good this draft and really trying to address some needs and trying to get Rodgers a cheap, good weapon on the outside that maybe he can help spread the field, and maybe we can see the Packers return to some prominence in that NFC North.
Well, Lord knows he hasn't been there this entire Madden, but Priest never lacks for enthusiasm. I'm sorry for just able to get the page up. Daddy Leagues stopped responding on me for some reason. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, he loves his running backs. He spent some picks on running backs again. He was on talking about how he was going to build around Rodgers some more. Boy, talk about holding on to this guy way too long. He's paying him $37.56 million. Who else in this league? Serious question. Who else in this league do you think would have gave Aaron Rodgers that contract. Rob Gronkowski is getting $16.15 million from him. Like, who in this league would have spent that kind of money on those two players? I can't think of anyone. Maybe Outlaw, because Outlaw does struggle. That's not a shot at Outlaw. He struggles with where he would spend his money.
No, that's my buddy. I was thinking the same thing, but I don't think even Outlaw would have done that. I think that's just Priest. I probably could get. Sometimes you get these older players and they perform, but the last 2 seasons you finished 2-14. But the crazy thing about it, he had a nice tight end. He spent tons of money 2 or 3 seasons ago on top-notch players and still finished 2-14.
Rob Gronkowski's like 55 now. Like, what are you doing?
And then he might not even play a whole season.
All right, we're going to rewind the tape. Worst free agency is going to be the Packers. We're just going to go with the Packers there. Smash, I'm throwing it over to you. Who had a really good draft grade, in your opinion?
Cowboys. I mean, everybody talking about using that draft tool. It's not too hard to pick when you got picks 5 and 6, and then you take 2 good linebackers. You got Sweat, and then you got Josh Allen, which I don't know what this man made draft, why they got him as a run stopper when he's a pass rusher, but he can just, personally to me, he won the draft with Sweat and Josh Allen out of Kentucky, the linebacker, not the quarterback. But yeah, I would go to Cowboys. Already got a nasty front and a back end, and now you just added 2 of the best linebackers in the draft outside of Devin White. I think he won the draft. I think the old Buccaneers owner gave him a pick, and then the old Panthers owner gave him a pick. Yes. For I think offensive line. One of them gave him a pick for offensive line and a slow, top-notch wide receiver. So, personally, to me, the Cowboys won the draft.
Listen to this starting lineup. If he runs a 3-4, he may not run a 3-4, but if he does,
he said he was running a 3-4.
Yeah. I mean, you better listen to this starting lineup. Montez Sweat, 23 years old, 81 overall, 92 speed, 82 tackle. That not too bad. Then you got Leighton Vander Esch. Leighton is 26 years old, 84 overall, 84 speed. Then you're going to roll out Josh Allen out there. Josh Allen is 23 years old, 76 overall, 85 speed. Oh, and then let's just throw in this other kid, Tavon Graham, who's 27 years old, 88 overall with 85 speed. Not too bad, not too shabby of a 4 set of linebackers that you can roll out there for the Dallas Cowboys. Good luck contending on that guy trying to run our pass, because he's got speed. He's going to fly around, and he's going to get after the quarterback.
I'm already calling. He's winning the NFCs.
Well, he's owned that division for quite some time. And we talk about the Seattle Seahawks getting richer. This is definitely a team that got richer. And one of the better calls, I have to agree with you, the Dallas Cowboys have to be a team that you consider as having one of the best draft classes. The teams that kind of come to mind, I talked about one a while ago. I really do like what Outlaw did with his Bills. He had a really solid draft and drafted really, really well. I kind of like what the Lions did. I thought that they had quietly a nice draft. I'm just kind of thinking through some of these other teams that just as you're
Vikings.
doing... That's who was going to get my call. I really like what the Vikings... Oh, that's not what I want to do. I really like what the Vikings did this past whole offseason. Now, look, his struggle last year was the quarterback position, and yet he goes out, I think, like late in the... I could be wrong on this, but late in the third round, and he gets... Or second round, and gets Drew Lock. And this guy's 78 overall, 96...
No, that was late in the first round.
In the first round.
I was looking... Yeah.
96 throwing power, 88 throwing accuracy, 88 short, 81 medium, 82 throwing deep, 82 throwing on the run, 84 play action, and then 73 speed means he can move around in the pocket. I mean, this guy instantly solves every quarterback issue that you've ever had on this team. Now, look, he's got 6 on his team for some reason. Now, some of those are going to be practice squad players, but You got Weston, who's been there, I think, for 2 seasons. You got Trubisky, who goes out and he spends some money on, who will be a solid backup. But Drew Lock immediately steps in and solves some of those problems. You still got Dalvin Cook out there on this team. You go out there and you bring in T.Y. Hilton. You bought in Odell Beckham last year, but he struggled. Like, he had a great season, but I think with the quarterback issues, struggling to kind of force the ball into Odell, it got him into some trouble. He goes out and he picks up some young offensive linemen on this team. Look, the offensive line needs some work. There's definitely some key core pieces to build around. His center, his right guard, his left tackle are all pretty much set. He's just got some minor holes to fill there. He tried to deal Daniel Hunter. He didn't do that, but Daniel Hunter can get after the quarterback here. He can definitely still make plays. He goes out and he picks up some young defensive ends and some young defensive tackles. I mean, this Jeffrey Simons kid that he drafted, 78 overall, 91 strength. He can plug and play right there in the center of that defense and be a very good player for you. The linebackers are nothing to get too excited about. I do like this Torrey Strong kid that he's got, 21 years old, 74 overall, 82 speed, 77 tackle, 70 man coverage, 73 zone. That's a starter. You can start him. I mean, he may not be an awesome player, but he'll be good enough to make some plays for you. Now, this defensive backfield got old. He's got some very old cornerbacks. His top 3 are 33 years old, 31, and 33. His fourth guy is 28. So, not the youngest backfield in the whole wide world, but look, he brings in Alan Chavis, who's 23 years old, 88 speed. You know, he can plug and play a little bit. So the defensive backfield you worry about a little bit, but a solid all-around draft for the Minnesota Vikings. And definitely a team that you, Smash, are going to have to now contend with because it looks like he's focused and a focused Vikings team. You say not really. Why do you say not really?
I say not really because while you were talking, I was looking at his quarterback situation. What makes you think that by you getting Drew Lock and you had a first-round pick quarterback that you took in maybe a year ago or 2 years ago with the number 6 pick, what's going to change? I think the quarterback Weston was better than Locke. That's why I was thinking Locke was going to fall to me. What is going to change? You're going to still force the ball to Odell. You're going to play defense. If you struggle on defense, you tell me what's going to change that now you got a new quarterback that you already had an awesome quarterback. What's going to change? Tell me. What is really going to change? But really, no, I brought Tim over. I've known Tim for a long time, and I don't know why he's struggling on offense. But tell me, only thing you really did, you did well in free agency. You did well bringing other pieces in. You should have picked up a cornerback, which I thought you were going to do because we talked. But what's going to change on that offense? Tell me what is going to change. That all you did was replace one good quarterback with another good quarterback that's not as developed, and you don't have time in the cycle to develop that quarterback. So what's going to change unless you just get out of that funk? Stop forcing the ball, Odell. Go to your check down. I don't think anything going to change. And I'm not going to talk about the rest of the NFC. We probably can do that. Well, the rest, but we probably can do that later in the show. But there's nothing, to me personally, that's going to change with that offense.
No, I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to have to stop forcing the ball. That's definitely something that he's going to have to stop doing. Let's stay on that kind of line of thought. Let's talk about our swings and misses in the draft. Dwayne, who's the team that you feel like had an opportunity here to improve their team and take some steps forward, but maybe swung and missed?
It was really tough. Like you said, it was a really stacked draft. It was a really deep draft. So unless you just reached every time, I mean, even reaching being good picks. My one team that I thought needed to make a big jump, especially for their division, and I thought that other than one pick, he really missed a lot, and that would be the Baltimore Ravens. He had a really good pick in Nasir Adderley at free safety, 81 overall. He was star dev. But other than that, he did pick up a 75 overall right guard and a 74 depth chart cornerback. Other than that, really nobody just stands out to you. And I think in that division, it's a game of inches. I think the Bengals, the Ravens, the Steelers, and Browns are all right there. I think you give Cincy the nod in that division just for he's just a beast on the sticks. But that division's been so tight. I think last season, I think maybe 2 games separated the whole division. And I think, like I said, this division is a game of inches. And I think he had a chance in this draft to really make a, really take that next step. And he got a really good free safety. But me for one, and if anybody can take advice from safeties, I would hope it would be for me. I think the star-studded safeties don't stick out as much this Madden as they have in the past,
Yeah.
and that breaks my heart. But this safety's really really good, and I love seeing the safety that he picked up. But I think in other positions make a bigger impact this Madden, and I think that this draft he had a really good chance to take that next step, and because I think it's really anybody's division in the AFC North, and I think he had a chance. But like I said, outside of Adderley, he just had a really kind of average to subpar draft. And I know he's been busy with life, and he's had a lot going on. So I hate to pick on my buddy. But like I said, in this star-studded draft, I just look at the Ravens as a team that I was kind of hoping would take a next step in this draft.
Yeah, look, the porn industry keeps him very busy, and so we understand that he's got a lot going on. When I kind of think through the teams that I thought could make a really big difference, for me the struggle has been there was so much movement, right? New Chargers, new Texans. I'm trying to think who else. The new Bills, of course. New Panthers, new Bucks. Who else moved? New Rams. Yeah, like there's so much movement that it was kind of hard to keep up with. And the team that I would love to have seen. Now I didn't follow their draft, and I think that's why this team sticks out to me. And that's going to be the New York Giants, is because nothing that they did really stuck out this entire offseason. This is a team that's been on the cusp of being very, very good. I did find it funny, though, that he drafted Daniel Jones with like a late pick. I think it was like 4th or 5th round. Yeah. It was like super late. And I think he was like, I got to do this, right? He's still there. I got the pick. But this is definitely a team that I thought could have drafted some more offensive linemen. It looks like maybe he tried but got some super late guys. He's got the quarterback, right? He's got the running back. He won, I think, I could be wrong, but I think he won Offensive Player of the Year with Saquon this year. He moved a bunch of his receivers. He could have got, some more playmakers there. This is just a team that, in my opinion, could have done a whole lot more because he's got some tools. He's got Leach at quarterback. He's got Saquon. He's got Evan Ingram, who is by far the most dynamic tight end in the league. This guy can make plays all over the field. But you expected that, man, he could have maybe added 1 or 2 more playmakers. I don't even know. Do you guys recall, was he here for the draft? It's very hard for me to tell who's here and who's not here, but I don't know if he was actually here for the draft.
I'm not sure he wasn't quite as talkative as he usually was.
Right.
Look, he did. I do like the Bo Norton pick, which I think was this draft, 22 years old, 87 overall. Maybe that was last year's pick. I could be wrong on that. I don't love this. It was this year's. That's right, because I remember them talking about they didn't love the speed. And I don't love the speed at 87 speed, but he could do a lot of stuff pretty well. 88 man coverage. Watch this one. 96 zone. This is a rookie coming out of college with 96 zone. So he is really slow, and you worry, can he cover the deep routes? But look, I'm arguing with myself even as I call. I hate that pick because of his you can't teach speed, right? Like and at the end of the day, if my guy can stick to you like glue, but you can just run away from him when you're dealing with the Seattle Seahawks, you're dealing with the Arizona Cardinals, you're dealing with the Atlanta Falcons with these speed receivers. Can Bo Norton keep up with those guys? And that's a real question. Do you think that this player, even with 96 zone, 88 man, can he keep up at 87 speed?
No. Long crossing routes.
No, like Steph said, it's not on a crossing route. Now it's a very situational one. If you leave him on an island, he's probably going to be in trouble. So he's a very situational player, especially with that kind of speed.
And you can't have a situational player with your top number one pick. And so I don't love what the Giants did here. And this is a team, if he gets plugged in and he gets focused and Pepper really wants to play. Now, here's the thing. He hates the game, right? And a lot of people do. So I get that. But if Pepper really focuses and puts his attention, Pepper can play, dude. And Pepper's got the team here, and he definitely has some players. So I don't love what the Giants did here. So, yeah, definitely a team that I think could have done better. Smash, I'm throwing it to you because we didn't do yours. Who's your swing and a miss in this draft? Who's the team that you thought could have made a better difference?
I'm going to go. Well, I'm going back to the Eagles. I tell anybody, I tell myself, don't worry about what everybody else is thinking. I think, Devin White was there, but you didn't need defense. You needed offense. And really, at the number one pick, the only guy I would have taken was DK Metcalf, who I was hoping would fall at me because I needed that. But I'm going to say the Eagles, like I said, a 1-15 team.
What made you fall in love about DK Metcalf?
I mean, real life. In real life, A.J. Brown was the guy. But his numbers, I needed speed on the outside, basically. A dynamic receiver. He reminds me of Nixon, the Broncos, when Broncos draft. You don't go away from that offense. It was a defense-laden draft. And like I said, Kyler Murray or DK Metcalf was the only one that should have been like the top number one pick offensive-wise, one overall. And DK is just a monster if you know how to use him. And like I said, 1-15. And I already went down the laundry list of last year of your scores. You may average maybe about 12 points a game or maybe 15 points a game. You needed something, a difference maker on that offense. Defense, personally to me, you could plug and play at some spots on defense. Like I said, if you needed a linebacker, you could have got a nice linebacker maybe early in the first round. Early in the second round. I know Devin White is lights out, but he's not going to score any points for you. Maybe a pick six and change the field position. But other than that, I think he should have went offense. He didn't do himself any favors by personally me picking Devin White.
Yeah, I actually like what they did in the draft. Of course, I'm a homer, being an LSU guy. And look, I don't know that Devin was the number one pick of the draft. He's a stud though. He can kind of do a little bit of everything. I think it's 91 or 92 speed. I agree with you. This offense was bad. It was real bad, but it was so bad. I don't know that it gets better with one draft pick, right? Like even if you bring in the receiver, you got to stop forcing the ball, right? Just as we talked about with the Vikings, right? He's got the quarterback, he's got Odell, but just to play devil's advocate, you even said that you didn't think the Vikings were going to be all that improved. I'd say the same would be for the Eagles. But overall, I like what he did. He goes out, he gets Josh Jacobs, he gets J.J. Whitside. I'm not even going to try that other name. He gets an offensive lineman. He did start to try to improve. Look, you add Will Grier, right? And so you got a solid backup if you need one. You add an offensive lineman, a halfback, a wide receiver. These are all his picks right after the Devin White. And if we're going to go the Devin White argument, you could also make the same argument for a guy that I love, and that's Mr. 00 in the Lions, your first game of the season. He has the defensive MVP on his team at linebacker, but he falls into his Michigan love, and he goes out and he gets his buddy from Michigan, the linebacker, Devin, what was his name? Help me out. Devin Bush. Devin Bush, right? Devin Bush. This was a team, again, that could use some offensive firepower. They could use some offensive linemen. They could use some other needs. He's got the MVP at linebacker. Why are you going to go and put another playmaker? There's only so many plays that can be made on defense. So if you're going to go that argument, I got to disagree. I actually like what the Eagles did. They were going to be my pick for one of the better drafts because I do think he gets one of, if not arguably, the top defensive players in this draft. Devin White is just going to make plays all around for him with that speed. And you did improve this offense. I know it's not sexy. You didn't get that top real sexy speedster. But I think if out of all of the Maddens, this could be the one Madden that I think it's proven that you don't have to have a 96 speed receiver to make a difference. You can still make plays with lower speed guys if you're effective with the ball. And that's a different argument for the Eagles. Is he going to be effective with the ball? Is he going to be efficient? Is he going to not turn the ball over? That I can't really speak to. So there's a look at the OMFL draft. The last thing as we kind of wrap up here is the most improved team in this past draft, or this past whole offseason. I'm kind of going through the agenda here, my bad. Who do we feel like was the most overall improved team? Who do we like the most from this entire offseason? Free agency, trades, draft of season 85. Dwayne, who's the team that you're like, you know what? That team caught my attention. I think they're the most improved team.
Well, I think it's kind of biased to what I've already talked about earlier. I think it's the Broncos. I think they did go -1 with the receiver. I really hate where the receiver went. I think we can all agree with that. But I do think he subtracted one and added a lot of pieces to his team. I think it wouldn't be far-fetched to say he wins the AFC West. He's glazed as one that with the right team in place and when he's engaged, he can be really scary. Now, he did move to Colorado this year. That could explain a lot. You know, they have a lot of fun in Colorado nowadays. So that might explain why he's so distant lately. But really, I think the Broncos will well. Like I say, I would love to see Nixon go somewhere else. I'm glad I'm not in the NFC. I feel bad for you two over there, especially if you have to see Mo this season. But like I said, I think the Broncos, they did lose a big piece, but then they picked up a lot of pieces. And I think he's really changed his mindset over there. And I think between the draft and between free agency, I think he put himself in a position to make the playoffs this year. And I think he actually put himself in a real position to kind of overtake the Chiefs in the AFC West. Don't make me look bad, Glaze. I'm putting a lot on your shoulders this Press Pass Live. And I'm sure he'll send me a message here in a little bit, letting me know that I put a lot of pressure on him. But I do think the Broncos really, really, set a staple down to what this is the year that he's going to make a run this season.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that. Definitely added some pieces. I still hate where he sent his player. I'm going to go a little outside the box. Look, a little tip of the cap to the Browns. I talked about them during the draft. I thought that they had a pretty solid draft. Again, it's impossible for me to keep up with everything. I have a list of 52 things that I am responsible for every offseason. So I try to keep up as much as I can. And the draft just happened. I had family come in last night, so I couldn't do as much homework for this show as I normally could. It seems like it's the weekend for Memorial Weekend. I guess everybody's family's in. It seems like everybody's got family stuff. But I'm going to go a little outside the box. I gave him a little bit of a hard time, but I got to talk about Outlaw and his Buffalo Bills. Now, look, when I say most improved, don't get me confused, right? Don't get my words twisted at all. He will not be winning anything in the AFC anytime soon. This team was just not built well at all. The cupboard was pretty bare when you look at this team. That offensive line is putrid. I mean, you've got some pieces around the center, around the left tackle that you can build, but everything else needed to be built up. I'm going to continue to stand by. I hate that you didn't go get a quarterback, Outlaw. I'm not sure why you didn't go get a quarterback. I know that you love Josh Allen's 99 throwing power, but this dude can't hit the ocean standing on the beach with his 81 short accuracy, 81 medium, and 76 deep. And nothing else on your roster even has a right to be in this league. So I hate your quarterback situation in a draft that was loaded. You could have got Haskins before the third round, and there's just no excuse for that. So I'm giving you a little hard time just to say I think you are the most improved team. I do think that overall, though, with as bare as the cupboard was, he did have some nice pieces that he re-added to this team, and he added some really good pieces here. And so I love what he did. I'm getting the eyeball from my wife who is peeking in at me. I'm actually hiding out in my garage. I have nowhere. I've got people. I got 10 people in my house. I got people scattered. It looks like a bunch of dead bodies after a freaking bender all night, and nobody drank last night. I got kids everywhere. I got people everywhere. So I'm hanging out in the garage here. And so let me also apologize. That's probably why you guys are hearing the popping noise because my poor little computer's trying to keep up with everything that's going on. But the Bills, back to the Bills, I do think that they're most improved. I think the cupboard was really bare. He added some nice pieces. I love the Greedy Williams pick. And again, we talked about that. He drafted a really good safety in this draft I think it might have been Logan. Is who maybe I'm wrong on that. And it was McGee, Terrell McGee. That's who it was. He added some nice pieces here. I love the Greedy Williams pick. That guy can cover with the 93 speed, 83 man, 83 zone. Cuppert was super bare. Not a lot to build on. But if you just look at who's most improved, who's taken a step in the right direction, you got to tip your hat to the Buffalo Bills. And look, he'll contend, and I think he'll go from, what were they, like 2 or 3 win season last year with all that freaking Coach Josh had done to that team. But now Outlaw has added some nice pieces, solid draft for him. I like what he did. Smash, who's your most improved team from season 85 offseason?
Well, I don't know if I can articulate like you two guys because I didn't have an agenda, but I'm just going to go with just name the teams, and maybe you can add on to it. I'm going to go with your guy. I'll just go in each division. Buffalo, AFC East, I think. Even though I gave Philadelphia a bad score, but I'm not going to go with him. Say the Redskins. With the NFC East, AFC West.
Oh, can I just say we're not doing predictions? We'll do predictions. Okay. No, Smash. Okay. You keep doing what you're doing. I'm not. You're not doing anything wrong. Okay. But I'm just saying what I'm about to say is why I'm saying we're not doing predictions. Okay. I will say that the Redskins will shock some people, and when we do our predictions next week, that's why I'm saying this. You keep doing what you're doing. The Redskins are going to be very, very good. They're a scary good team.
All right. Okay, then I'm going to go I'll just go with the Vikings then. Even though I gave him a hard time, he improved his team. He just got to improve his play. And like I said, I know Tim can play because we play in another league together for a long while. And I don't know what's going on. I really don't know what's going on with that offense, but he had a nice draft and offseason. I think he picked up a DN in Schaefer. I think he moved him to linebacker. I let him go. I traded that guy to the Browns. And that's how I had 2 number 1 picks. But he's a monster at DN he picked up. But overall, I'm going to say the Vikings had a nice offseason.
Look, either way, it is it's the funnest time of the year, right? Like it is a ton of fun. Everybody feels like it's their season and like they're going to be the team that's now going to make a run. We're in the last season, right? Everyone knows this is the last season, and because of that, it can skew things a little bit, right? Teams start spending all kinds of crazy money, and you know what? I'm thinking out loud. You know, maybe there is a rule that we implement where a certain right. Like there has to be like a certain percentage of your cap if you're. I don't know. Maybe something that we can implement there.
I think you can. I think you can get with Bloop because when I played with them in SOS, I think they had something like that, similar in their old league on Operation Sports. Maybe you can get with him and talk to him about it.
I don't trust anything that Bloop dude does. I just don't. I don't trust him at all. I'm picking.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was, but I think it was a certain percentage you could spend. Because it was the same thing, guys started spending early and then getting capped and wanting help. But I think, like what you're saying, towards the end, guys just go crazy. But, maybe you can get with him. I don't recall what was done over there, but maybe he remembers what they did.
I think it's lack of sleep right now and lack of coffee and lack of everything. We're not quite ourselves here this morning, but you're right. I'm going to get with Bloop and see what they've done, but maybe there's something we could do there. Let's jump into some owner-submitted questions before we put a bow in this show. Mr. D. Wayne is never lack of questions. Why don't you go ahead and ask your question that you wrote here, Mr. D. Wayne?
Oh, let me scroll back to it.
I got you. He says, what are your thoughts on the custom draft class that we use? Smash, what's your thoughts of this overall custom draft class?
I'm going to agree with my guy, Bill. I think it was overpowered. and I like it. But maybe if we can find one that's less overpowering. But I think at the end of the day, it was something fun. I wish we could do it early in the year. Just maybe not with players so overpowered, because by the time we get to this period in the cycle, they'll be all 99.
Right.
But I like it. But maybe on the front end where we know, or even the second draft, get one draft out of the way, maybe just throw it in right in the middle, because sometime in the middle, even the holiday season, guys, especially if they know they're not going to win, uh, maybe sometime first of the year, January, February, throw that in the middle of it, just something in the middle of the season, just to get guys juices going again. And maybe so those guys won't be too overpowered if we do uh, find a draft that's not as overpowering as this one. But it was fun. I mean, I liked it, but
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Super overpowered. I knew it was going to be overpowered. I usually avoid these. The reason I don't do them earlier is for that same reason, because they are overpowered. And so if you introduce these players and these players get 2 or 3 seasons that they get to be played with and get to be built up, they're going to be that 99. You'll have like a league full of 99 overalls. You introduce them late. These guys are only going to get 1 season to play with them. You're only going to get 1 season to build them up. And so I think you kind of limit how overpowered you can make them. But yeah, all of these custom draft classes are skewed because humans kind of put their own personal views on them. This was kind of the best one out there that was the least amount of skewed and had the most votes. It was slightly adjusted by me to dumb it down a little bit, and so even I dumbed it down a little bit and then added in a couple of sleepers here and there. Overall, the point, and I said this earlier in the show, the point was I'm trying to keep owners engaged for the summer, which is always the hardest time, and I'm hoping that this does that. Let's go over to Cincyberg. He says lots of team movement. There's a lot of team movement questions here. He says lots of team movement this past offseason. Who do you think will have the biggest success with their new team? And Bill asked the same question, and so I'll count it for both of you since you asked the same question. But they're both asking, out of the new guys who moved around, the 6 new coaches who moved around, including adding Bloop, which is probably the biggest mistake that we've had here in a long time, who do you think will do the best with their new team?
Me personally, I think the Chargers. I think Colin. And I say this because I have faith in Colin. I always have had faith in the game. I think he's in a division that is winnable. And the only reason I talked about the other teams is I think you look at Bloop took over the Panthers. I think you already look at that division. I think it's stacked. I think if you look at the Bucks, I think Crazy B Man, I could be wrong, took over the Bucks.
Yeah, you're right.
I think, like I said, you got the Falcons and Saints already kind of entrenched in that division. I think Bloop's a great player, but like I said, you got 2 teams right there that are playoff bound almost every season. He's in front of him. You look at Bill with the Rams, another example of faith in Bill's ability and his building ability, but he's got 3 teams there. 2 of them are OMFL Bowl contenders, and Cooley, we all know what Cooley can do. I think Cooley's only going to get better with time here, so he's in a division that's just really stacked as well. And then you look at the Texans come to the South, and I just think with the Jaguars and Titans and Colts already there, man, that's just a tough division to fight for. That's why I'm kind of going with Colin. And I'll speak on Outlaw. I don't want Outlaw to think I'm left him out. He's in another division that you got 3 teams right there: the Dolphins, Jets, Patriots, who are fighting to win that crown every year. He kind of started in the hole with Josh's team, kind of built in an odd way there. So he's kind of digging himself out of a hole already. I'm gonna go with Colin in the chart. I think he's got the best chance to make an impact with that team. And I just think Colin, he was in a rut with the Panthers, and I know he's 0-1. He started the season with the loss. I think he played the Raiders week 1. But I do think he was kind of in a rut with the Panthers, and I'm kind of hoping that these Chargers will get revamping, and I think he's got the best shot to make an impact.
Before I throw it to Smash, I got to agree with you. That was my pick. I think Colin is a great player. The dude can do it all. A very good runner. I think that team is built more towards his style. Like all these guys who took over these teams have to revamp these teams to fit their style. And so I was going to go Colin as well. I'm actually going to go one other pick just because we talked about him a little bit this morning. It is a super tough division, and so this is going to be skewed a little bit. Okay, I'm talking myself around in circles. My apologies. If you're asking who's going to have the better record, I think it's going to be Colin, because I think Bill's style and Colin's style closely align, and so that team is going to need less movement to fit Kyle's style. If you're asking me who do I think will prosper the most, maybe won't finish with the best record because of where he's at, but who you will look at and go, holy cow, that guy's playing better at this new team, it's going to be Crazy and the Bucks. We talked about him this morning, right? He played the Jags. He lost on a real crazy, weird play at the very end. But if you're hanging with the Jaguars, bro, you're already taking that step into that next level. It's going to be tough for him. He's got Bloop, who I haven't played yet, but who I understand is a extremely good player. I've been giving him a hard time here on the show, but extremely good player. Was in the Toilet Bowl finals. Everybody who's in those Toilet Bowl games and goes to the championship game always is one of those teams you got to watch out for the next year. He is in there with the Falcons and Bloop, and look, he'll beat me pretty easily because I'm an average player. But I like the Bucks. I like Crazy B-Man, and I think that he's going to raise some eyebrows. He's going to make some people take notice of who he is, and nobody's going to just mark him as an automatic win anymore. Smash, who out of the movement players, those 6 teams that moved around when Josh left us, who do you think is going to be the team that you go, hey, they're going to have the most success with their new team?
Well, 2 things. I'm not going to talk about the Chargers, but I think the Chargers also going to have the best record.
Yeah, a little consensus here.
Right. I don't know why. I love you, Nate, but I don't know why you keep talking about Crazy B, man. I used to pencil him in as a win. And I'm just going to skip over that because I got some other personal that I didn't like about him when he traded the first round pick to Seahawks last cycle. But I'm going to go with my boy Outlaw. Outlaw is going to cause some problems. Yes, he's going to cause. I think the only problem he's going to have is with the Jets.
Did you seriously just call me out for Crazy B-Man who hung with the Jaguars, but you're going with Outlaw who hasn't won anything in 12 seasons?
Just like you said, he's not going to have the best record, but I think he's going to shock and surprise some guys in that AFC East. Like I said, I think the only problem he's going to have is with the Jets. Yeah. And that
sure.
Because the Jets, I mean,
you're sleeping on my boy Rob. You're sleeping on my boy Rob.
Fundamental football. And he just frustrates the hell out of me. That I do know because he doesn't come with any trick plays, anything. But I think Outlaw is going to surprise some people in that AFC.
Hey, I can't argue that. Yeah, look, we give Outlaw a hard time, but you're right. Outlaw, when he is clicking, when he was with the Bears, he had that team clicking. He beat me a couple times. Great defense, and then also like that hard running style. He just kind of eats up the clock. He's got Tank over there now, and so I just don't like his quarterback situation. And I think if you don't have a good quarterback, you're going to be behind the 8 ball. That offensive line is putrid, y'all. It is really, really bad, and his quarterback situation may be the worst in the league, which is disappointing because he had an opportunity to improve that situation. Let's move over to another Dwayne question. He says, do you think the influx of speed from this last draft will affect the OMFL in a big way? I want to take this one first because, I made the decision to take this draft class. I think where it will affect us will not be where people, and maybe not even where both of you will say, I don't think it will affect the offense all that much. I actually think it's going to affect the defense. I think you're going to see a ton of new influence on the defense with the speed at the linebacker position, mainly the linebacker position. I think you did add some speed in the defensive backfield and even at defensive end, but there was some stud linebackers with some crazy speed being added to this league. And I think when at the end of this season, when we look back, we're going to see a little tick up in interceptions. We're going to see a little tick up in pass rush because I think you added some linebackers to this league. They're going to get after the quarterback. They're going to fly around and make some plays. And I think it's going to be a little bit needed because we added some great quarterbacks to this league as well. But where do you both think the influx of speed is going to affect us, if it will affect us at all?
I'm going to go, like you said, with 92 speed linebackers, 90 speed linebackers. I mean, you're not going to be able to run on the outside with the ones that do have that 92 speed, 90 speed line. I think most of you going to be able to have to run it on the inside. You're not going to be able to those tosses and maybe stretch plays going to be shut down. But I think it's the like you said, the linebackers.
When I asked that question, I wasn't even thinking about these fast linebackers and fast defenders that all came in. And kind of like you said earlier, I think Smash was talking about the Cowboys. I think Sweat and Allen were both fast and both just going to wreak havoc. I think and like I said, I was specifically talking more about offense just because of the DK Metcalf's I want to say is it Paris that you picked up Smash.
Yeah,
Um,
Paris Campbell.
and you had a couple of receivers that just came in the league, and like I said, you look at like Mo and the Falcons, and I think even Priest sent me a picture yesterday of his receivers of guys that have 3 or 4 guys that are 95 speed or above. But like I said, your defenders have gotten just as fast, if not, hung their own. I don't think it's on the offensive side of the ball. I don't think it's going to stand out, like I said, as much as it will on the defensive side. I think it will be interesting to see a 92 speed linebacker, how he reacts to that sweep, how he reacts to that toss, and to see if, the sweep and toss and stuff have always been a little, I don't say overpowered, but have always been a very successful run if ran the right way. And it ought to be interesting to see how these faster defenders react to those plays now.
Yeah, look, Priest, his name's come up a couple times. That dude finally woke up this offseason. I don't know where the hell that mummy's been, but man, he was super engaged this offseason. He telling people to make their picks and sending messages and having pictures. And all. Like, the dude can't take a picture to save his life either. I don't know. It's not hard, Priest. Just take a good picture of your TV, dude. But Priest was super engaged. Let's move to our next question. Rob, I know that you're on the stream, but these freaking 3 questions in one post, you're killing me with this. First one, he says, what sleeper candidate teams do you have this year? Do you have any teams that you think are sleepers? I'm going to throw this one to Smash first, right here on the spot. Who's your sleeper team in the OMFL this year?
Man, you got me because I was just went to my garage to open the door. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna go with Outlaw. So
I'm about to say you've been giving Outlaw freaking tickle all freaking show.
I'm gonna go with the Redskins. Because
not a bad pick.
He just slapped me all over the field last time we played. Ran the ball, play action pass. I'm going with the Redskins.
Yeah, he sent me a DM in Discord just now saying that he wants to fly under the radar, but that's not going to happen. My pick is going to be the Cleveland Browns, always on the cusp of being a really good player. I miss the old Chaotic, who used to be super engaged here. This isn't a shot at, because there's a handful of owners who are super disengaged and who you really never hear from. Now, he was a little engaged this offseason because his thing's always going to be work, and he works these really crazy hours and whatnot, and drives far away from home and is rarely home. But I think I like the Cleveland Browns. It always takes him a couple of seasons to build that team, but I think he's quietly built a really good squad, and he will compete this year. The Steelers were that team last year that came out of that division, but this year I think it's going to be Cleveland. D-Wayne, who's your sleeper team?
I think it's going to be the 49ers. I think Cooley, this is the season. He's kind of been, he's kind of getting some guys in place. He competed last season. He actually was a game. He lost a pretty much a play-in game to get in the playoffs. I think he's a person who could, with the Seahawks and Cardinals butting heads and fighting each other, I think he's the one who could sneak up there and get a playoff spot. He has the talent to do it. He has the sticks to do it. And we've known Cooley. He's been successful pretty much everywhere he's went. I think he's one this year that could sneak up there. And if anything, that division could have 3 teams come out of it. I don't think that'll happen, not with the Saints and Falcons over there in the South. But I do think he could sneak up there and get that wild card spot and compete for that division in NFC West. I just think Cooley's got a lot of good things going on in San Francisco.
All right, who's the team that you guys feel like peaked last year, and we kind of seen the best of them last year, but this year we're going to see them take a step back? I'm going to put you on the spot, Mr. D. Wayne.
That is a tough one. I could just say my Colts and just say we're not going to win 14 games again.
Oh, my God.
But I think that it's a tough one to say, but I think the Chiefs, because I don't think they win that division again. I'm just giving him recognition. He'll be in my DMs later, give me a hard time. But I think the Chiefs don't win that division again. I think they peaked last year and won that division. I don't think they win it again. I think you got 3 reloaded teams in that division. I think you have the Raiders, Broncos, and Chargers, and especially with, like I said, Colin taking over, bringing his own, style to the Chargers. Bill had them in play, and they played well every season. But I think Colin brings probably a little more explosiveness on the offensive side of the ball to that team. I think the Chiefs peaked last year with that division title. Not saying they won't make the playoffs this year, but I don't think they win the division. And like I said, I think they peaked last year with the division title. And I just don't see them doing it again.
Yeah, I got to go with the Steelers. A great offense. I do think he'll be more engaged now that school's over. He'll have a little bit more time on his hands. But I think that team peaked, and we've seen the best of the best from them last year with that offense. I think that defense was just really bad last year, and I think that one good season teams are now going to take note, and they're going to be ready. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers as the team that peaked. Mr. Smash, who's the team that peaked for you last year?
The Detroit Lions. They started off hot and ran away with the division and almost I guess they could have lost it if the other 3 teams got off their ass and tried to play. So I'm going with Detroit.
Well, there you have it, Detroit. Well, let's get his last question. His last question was around the NFC North. And Smash, I'm going to make you go last because you've already given a lot of your thoughts. And his question is, will the North finally have a division winner over 500? And my answer is going to be yes. I don't think it's going to be way over 500. I still think that you're looking at 9-7. I do think every team in this division improved. I really like what the Vikings did. The Bears and Smash, you're a little down on yourself for some reason. You clearly heard that you're down on the Lions just now, but I do like what the Lions did. I just think that overall that division will be better. We've talked about the Packers several times. I hate Aaron Rodgers on that team. It seems like the Lions are engaged. That's why I think that we're going to see an improvement and we'll see somebody over 500 because every owner seems engaged this season. In the past, this entire Madden, it hasn't been every owner. Not always their fault, life. We talked about that. But I think every owner is engaged, and because every owner is engaged, we will have a winner over 500. I just think they'll beat up on each other, and there's other really great players in the NFC, so it won't be way over 500. Give me like a 9-7, maybe a 10-win double-digit team will squeeze in there. I don't think so. I think it'll be more around the 9-7 range. Dwayne, does a 500 division winner come out of the North this year?
I do think so. I kind of see this division as a 7-9 to 9-7 division. I think really everybody, kind of like you said, Smash really hasn't gave himself any credit. I know he's being a very perfect host by doing that. But I think this is a 7-9 to 9-7 division. I think everybody's within about 2 games, but I kind of feel that they just beat each other up so much. I don't really see nobody over 9-7. But then again, like I said, I don't see any team just completely dropping out of this race. I think all 4 owners are engaged. DBL, no matter what he says about himself, he's always going to be in the competition. This is going to be the year Smash. I think he turns it around this season. And I think the Vikings, I know he's Tim. I think I just broke Tim when he left the South. I'm sorry, Tim. I think he's just broke. I'm doing that, by the way. Me and Tim have a nice rivalry. He never gives me any credit, so I'm going to take a shot at him. And the Packers, I think Priest. It's all on Priest. Priest's mindset. If Priest plays his game the way he should play it, if he runs the ball and doesn't just force every pass to Rodgers, he'll be in the play. It's just if you put his back against the wall, Priest just goes back to what he does. He's a gunslinger and he slings it, and that just doesn't win in the OMFL. So I think this division is a 7-9 to 9-7 division. It's kind of up in the air for everybody. I do think your Bears and Vikings headline this division as much as I want to hate on Tim. I think they headline this division. I think DBL's his own roadblock. He just got to stay out of his own way. And I think Aaron Rodgers is the Packers' roadblock.
All right, Smash. Go ahead. It's your division. Talk about it.
First of all, who asked the question? Who asked this question again?
That was Rob, who you were giving a hard time to earlier in the show.
Rob, the 10-6. I think the Bears last couple of seasons before the last season were 10-6. So I'm just going to correct you on that for 500. That took the division. And what I'm going to say about
were you 10-6 last season?
I was 10-6 the last 2 times I won the
Oh,
division.
okay. I didn't realize. I gotta admit, I
Yes,
didn't realize that. I
yes,
thought we did have some 500 winners come out of there.
yes, yes. The only last time you had somebody over 500 was last cycle when Bill was in the division. So let's just get this straight. Now I'm going to talk some. Now I'm not going to talk any smack, but I think that's the person that's going to win this division is DBL. That's the only person I have a problem with in this division. To be honest with you, Priest is going to play with his new toy DK. That's going to be real easy to solve. And Tim, I shouldn't give him any fire, but Tim, you gotta wake up. I don't know what's going on with the Vikings, but Tim, I know you can play offense. You gotta wake up so I can have at least somebody else to go give me competition besides the Lions. But other than that, I'm gonna say the Lions take the division at 8-8. There's not gonna be anybody over 8-8 because we got to play the AFC West, the NFC South. I don't forget, and I think everybody else just plays what goes on their record in NFC. But I think we're gonna have a tough time. There won't be anybody over 8-8 that's gonna take this division.
Well,
And you heard it here, and the one that's gonna go 8-8 is DBL. He's gonna take the NFC North at 8-8.
this is what I find funny. Poor Smash has been giving 00 a hard time the entire show. He comes on the draft show. He says he's going to win the division, and now he's saying, "Oh no, 00 is going to win it at 8-8." So let's see how it plays out.
Yeah.
I think
Who has? Go ahead. Who has won this division outside of Bill the most? And
I
it's gonna
agree.
be double L until somebody really beats him. I gave him a hard time earlier, but that dude defense is stacked,
No, I
and
agree
he can
with you.
do enough. He can do enough on offense to score within that division. But I'm also gonna say the last time I was engaged and didn't have family issues, I went 4-0 in the division. So if I'm engaged, you know, I I still don't think I got a chance because of my quarterback. I'm just so worried about that quarterback.
No, I think you're.
That's my biggest thing.
I think you're going to be fine. You're going to figure out his throw motion, and I agree. I think all of those owners are engaged, and it should be really, really good. Let's get to the last question. Then we're going to put a bow on a very long show, hour and 40 minutes almost, hour and 34 minutes. His last question was, what fantasy player predictions do we have? This is a pretty big question. Of course, fantasy football here in the OMFL is one of those things that Maniac does, and it is a ton of fun. You should be engaged. We even give a prize for the last place. If you come in, if you do if you do the draft and you submit all of your weeks and you still come in last place, you win a prize. It's a way to keep owners engaged in the fantasy football by giving a prize away to the last place owner. It's a ton of fun. I love fantasy football. But what are your predictions? Who are the players out there that you think will make a major splash in fantasy football? I'm going to go ahead and toss mine out there. I think it's going to be Saquon Barkley. He's a great player. I think Pepper's going to be super engaged. He's going to run people right down their throats. Saquon's going to have a great season. I think he had like in the 20s, 25 touchdowns or something like that last season. I know he was going for that rushing record. I think Saquon Barkley is going to be the guy that you can look to. I would say one of these rookies may surprise you. I still stand by rookie quarterbacks, even as good as they are from this draft, are going to make a lot of mistakes, and owners are going to make a lot of mistakes with them. And so that's my biggest worry for the guys that are going to be coming out with their quarterbacks. I do think they're going to make too many mistakes with them. And because of that, I don't think that you'll see a quarterback that's going to be a fantasy guy. But I do like Saquon Barkley, and I think he's the guy. Who's your fantasy predictions? Who you guys think is going to make a splash in fantasy?
I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna say this: Seattle Seahawks wide receiver Gilbert Nix. That's gonna be my prediction. You done gave him a weapon, a big weapon with speed that can flat out do everything. So you either take Nixon or Edwards on the Seattle Seahawks. That's my prediction for fantasy. Are you in trouble? Whoever has Nixon gonna score some points.
Yeah, I think it's hard to argue with any of those. The only thing I worry about with the Seahawks receivers is he would rather run the ball 60 times a game, and the way he gets ahead on people, and that's why I kind of lean on Joey Martin. I think Martin is probably your most established running back here. He doesn't do nothing just crazy fancy. He just irritates you and goes 30 carries for 110 yards every game with the Seahawks. I think the Cowboys have a really solid core. I think his quarterback is always in there because like I said, when Mastro's kind of engaged and playing his game, his quarterback Archer will always be in contention as a
Yeah, I agree.
MVP candidate. So I would go with Archer and Martin. And the receiver's a little tougher for me, but I honestly would like to see what Tim does with Odell. I've seen what Tim did with Taywan Taylor when he was with the Titans. I think he can do the same thing with Odell Beckham over there in Minnesota. It's just all about him being engaged, and I know Smash has bragged on Tim over there about how good he can be, and I've seen it. He really gave me problems in the South, and like I said, he did it with a lot less receiver than Odell is. So I think Odell is engaged. Odell can bless you, can put up a lot of stats. I mean, this thing last year he had 1,700 yards and only 5 touchdowns last year. He brings that touchdown total up to maybe 10. He's probably one of your top receiving fantasy options.
Yep, it's hard to argue any of those. I do think that Odell Beckham is going to make a big splash. That's going to bring us to an end of a very long show. Next week's show, we will have, hopefully, Maniac will be back with us and not be sick. And we'll do our prediction show. I like to give a couple weeks under our belt to kind of let's see where the first 3-4 weeks go. Lots of new content out there. So let's wrap up the show really quick. GrownFolksOC.com, that stands for Grown Folks Online Community. Go and give us a look. Tons and tons of new content. Pootie T and I did the Talk podcast for Daddy Leagues on Friday or yesterday. We'd love if you give that a support, a retweet, a comment. Let us know what you think. Look, I've been changing the way we produce these shows. You can see it. This show here today was not one of my better produced shows. I'm just trying to make some changes, and I keep kind of going back and forth between these layouts and just trying to find something that works. And just hang with me. But lots of really great content out there. Go and check out GrownFolksOC.com. You can follow us on Twitter, GrownFolksOC. Give us a follow. We'll follow you right back. Our YouTube page, youtube.com/C/Grown Folks Online Community. You can check out all of our different playlists. We have tons of content. Go check out our draft show, man. It's 3 hours long, a little pre-draft show. We go through the entire 7 picks and talk about them. We do some interviews, both Brady and I, at the very end of that show. I think this past show, we had, 6 or 7 or maybe 8 different owners that came on with us. So some good interviews, a lot of fun content. Go check it out. A lot of love for Brady. I wish somebody would show me some love because you guys loved up on Brady. And if you're a Twitch guy, twitch.tv/GrownFolksOC, you can go check out all of our content there. Give us a follow there. We'll follow you right back. And then let's talk about some of our friends here. We could not do this without DaddyLeagues.com. All of the Talk podcasts are on Daddy Leagues. I like to do those for them. But if you have a CFM and you're new to the online CFM game, then you need to know about Daddy Leagues. Go and invest in Daddy Leagues. Get you a Daddy Leagues page. We love our page, even though it does give me some problems here on the podcast loading up and some popping noises because we do some really neat things with our Daddy Leagues page. But you need to have a Daddy Leagues page. We have one for every league that we have here. It is the guy. We love Poppy. He actually joined our chat the other day. Poppy is such a different character. He joined just to check us out and see how we use our Discord. But Poppy, we love you and we appreciate Daddy Leagues and all that you guys do for us. Equally as important is our buddy Matt over at League Crawler, leaguecrawler.com. If you're an owner in the OMFL and you don't have a League Crawler, shame on you. You need to go create a League Crawler the login and profile. You need to go find the OMFL page. You need to give us a rating and a comment. LeagueCrawler.com. It is the place to be. If you play the show, if you play NBA 2K, if you play Madden, if you play Fortnite, if you play WWE, if you're looking for owners, this is the place to go. If you're an owner looking for a league, you need to go here. You'll get all the ratings for all the leagues. I love his site. He is one of the nicest guys in the CFM community. I'm constantly rocking my League Crawler shirt whenever I do these podcasts. So go support our buddies at leaguecrawler.com. Then our good friends who are actually on the show with us here today are Xbox partners. If you have an Xbox One, you need to go play with the Soden Bowl. I said their name wrong for so long, but I politely, he didn't even correct me. He just said it right a bunch of different times. But our buddy Soden is here. I see them on the chat. They are the people, man. They do such amazing stuff. I think they have 3 shows here listed, but I think they actually have more than that. They have more than 3 owner-submitted shows that they do. They put out tons of content. Their website is superb. It's really, really great stuff. Please go support our buddies over at Sodenbo. Follow them on Twitter. Follow them on YouTube. Follow them on Twitch. He was nice enough to join us on our OMFL Bowl number 84 podcast, and he did the broadcast with me. Really friendly guys. They got our buddy over there. We're going to put the chat up because I know that they're probably all in here. They've got our buddy over there with them that used to play with us that's just doing some really amazing content for them. So look, support them. If you play Xbox and you're looking for a Madden community, these are the guys that you need to go and to hang out with. Hit up 2 more, and then we're going to get out of here. Madden Accord, of course, they are trying some new things over at Madden Accord. If you need logos, if you're looking for some advice, if you're looking to connect with some nice and not so nice guys over at Madden Accord. The CFM community is so weird. It's like Twitter. It's the wild, wild west. People are just jerks sometimes, and you know what, it'll teach you some things. But the thing I love about Madden Accord, even though you're going to find some characters that may not be the nicest friends in the whole wide world, you're going to find some guys in the community who are super cool and who will give you some great advice, who will share some tips and some tricks. And if you're looking for logos, if you're looking for overlays, if you're looking for show ideas, you need to be a part of the Madden Accord Discord. So give them a follow on Twitter, hit them up and let them know that you want to be a part of that. And then finally, our buddies over at OvertimeHeroics.com. This is a sports website. They've got tons of podcasts. If you're super into sports, if you're super into gaming, help us out. Go support our friends at OvertimeHeroics.com. Go check out their website. Be engaged in their forum. BCS is their guy who kind of runs this and reached out to me to be a part of this. Just really cool people. I love their new logo. I love their new layout. I love what they're doing. They have so many podcasts that you can be engaged in. So go support Overtime Heroics. Talk some sports with them and get plugged in and engaged. And man, that's it. All of our good partners who we love and who help us out so much, man. Those guys are great, and we appreciate them for helping us expand our reach, and we hope that in our own ways that we can help them expand their reach. So let's put a bow on it, man. Let's get this thing out of here. We hear wives talking, and families are talking, and people are waking up, and we've been at this for a couple hours now, so let's wrap it up and put a bow. I'm going to throw this one to Smash. Smash, put a bow on the show for us.
Well, thanks for having me on the show, and hopefully I can come back again, maybe with the rundown of the show, so I can be a better answer to the show. And week 1 kickoff time week. Let's get rolling, guys. Let's get these games scheduled, and I'll see y'all on the next go round.
Mr. Smash, don't worry. You're always going to be an ass on this show, and we'll make sure that you get the agenda next time. I do appreciate you just doing this impromptu. We love having you on the show, Mr. Dwayne. My buddy, you and I got to play next. Now it's 9:30. This show went way too long, but there was so much to cover. Hopefully your day is flexible. You and I can talk offline and get our game scheduled because I'm ready to play. You and I had a rivalry, and I missed that rivalry. You would drive me insane. I beat him one time. I was 1 for 12 against him. He didn't talk to me for 2 days, Smash. He literally did not speak to me for 2 days when I beat him. He was 12-1 versus me and couldn't take his one loss like a man. So hopefully I'll be able to move to 2-13 versus him here pretty soon. But Dwayne, put a bow on the show for us.
Nate will never forget that one time he beat me and I didn't talk to him for 2 days. It was more of a shutdown. I was shut down. I was hurt, Nate. You broke my spirit. I'm really excited about this week 1 kicking off. I think we have a lot of excitement there. I think a lot of teams are ready to make this run, and I know everybody just gets excited, especially at this time of the year, because they know that last season here we have a little break and we start the new season, or new, Madden 20. I think everybody's excited. I'm not looking forward to playing week 1. I hate playing Nate. Nate really makes me think, and I hate thinking while I play. I really like to drink while I play, and drinking and thinking don't go well together. But yeah, I'm excited. There's a lot of good games. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on in the community. You got fantasy football going on. Just a lot of stuff. A lot of people engaged, and I would like to just openly, glad to have Rob as our new board member. He did a lot this offseason, a lot
You're
more
right.
than I did.
That's a good catch.
And he's did a lot. And I'm not really excited to see him, meet me in the playoffs because you guys Patriots really, really built well over there. But he has did a lot more than I hate to say than I expected, but he did a lot for a new board member, and I'm excited to have him.
Now, Rob has been such a great addition here, and I say that with a little hesitancy because every time I brag on somebody being a really great board member, I usually get a message within 2 weeks that they're quitting and leaving. So hopefully Rob will not leave us because he has been a really great addition to our board, and I've really appreciated him. And I'll just kind of put this out there. Everybody, you guys are too kind. Thank you so much for putting up with this. Was a badly produced show. I don't know why we had so much popping. As you can see, I've cut back on the layout. I loved our layout, and I was really, really sad that I had to cut back. But I do this off of a Mac, and until we just got a home about 2 months ago, and so before then, I just didn't have the room for a big tower PC. But now that we got a home over the next year or two, as funds kind of present themselves, and hopefully as guys donate to the league, I can invest in maybe a tower that can handle a little bit more of all these really cool layouts and videos and all the cool stuff that I know that they do over at Soden Bowl that I just can't do here because I'm doing this all off of a pretty large little Mac laptop, but it's still a Mac laptop and it can only handle so much. So I apologize for the weird layout and the weird pop-in. The Arkansas telephone antennas were popping today and giving Dwayne a hard time. And so thank you guys for putting up with me and putting up with the production. I apologize that it was not that great. We will continue to work on there, and we'll get it here sooner or later. But we're trying to do some new stuff. I'll also say, put this out there. I don't know 100%, but I may be looking to add another board member to our crew. Our old buddy Dawson used to be our head incentive guy. He used to watch over the incentives. He used to track the incentives. He used to just take the lead in the incentive threads and making sure that they happen. We don't have that any longer. Rob has been kind enough to step up and help in a couple of those different areas, but really, I don't want to burn Rob out. He is really our guy who's over the trade calculator and like the different systems that he's helped us create here. So if you would be interested in helping track the incentives, now it's a job. It is a pretty hefty job, but if you'd be interested in helping create new incentives, adjust the current incentives that we have a lot of them, and also track and make sure the new incentives take place, hit me up. It's something I'm mulling over. I can't promise you that you'll get it, but I'm mulling it over. I'm thinking about it. If you'd be interested, we'd like to talk to you. So that's it. Thank you, Soden, and all of our buddies. Rob was on here. Kevin was on here. Bill was on here. Pepper was on here. I think I'm missing Outlaw is on here. Thank everybody for tuning in today and for being a part of the show. We really appreciate you. And I just, it's an exciting time here. We got the new Madden information that's dropping. I'm begging you, please go support the Talk podcast that we do for Daddy Leagues. Pootie T and I've got some really great chemistry. We just give you the views from two long-time old commissioners and our views on the latest Madden news that's coming out. I'm pretty excited about the new Madden. Pootie T, not so excited, but go support that for us. Leave us your comments. Whoa. I don't know what that was, but somebody got real excited about some videos there. We're super excited about the new Madden news. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Be critical, man. We want to produce the best content that we can. I'm going to continue to work on the content that we're producing here for the OMFL, and hopefully I'll get it to where you guys like it. So I'm going to shut up now. It's a 2-hour show. Next week's show, Maniac, hopefully we'll be back. We'll do a prediction show. We'll give you our predictions for the season and season 85, as it's probably going to be our last one before we get into Madden 20. So for Dwayne, for Maniac, for Smash, for all the leadership here in the OMFL. Thank you so much for watching our show. Have a blessed week. God bless you. Be safe this Memorial holiday. We'll see you next week. Peace.